Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Okay, everyone. So this week, or in your coming 8-9 days, you'll be discussing the life, the times, the teachings, and the beautiful personality that is the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. So it's a very beautiful topic, and what I'll try to do today is just maybe just set the foundation. It's a very, very special year in ISKCON. It's the 60th anniversary. Just a few months ago, I was in New York, and I was also just walking around the streets of New York, as you do, and just remembering and thinking about Srila Prabhupada and how he came, and how we're in 2026 now, and Prabhupada came when it was the spirit of 66. And so that will be a little bit of the theme this morning, the spirit of 66, and what that means in 2026, and what it means for all of you who will probably be here in 2066, because I don't think I'll be around at that time, but you will. And what can we learn from the spirit of 66, in which Srila Prabhupada began the Hare Krishna movement in the Western world? But before we do that, I've got a quote here. I told them to take this quote off while we're doing the kirtan, because it may not be the most inspiring quote when you're singing a kirtan. But some people die at 25 and aren't buried till they're 75. Agree, disagree? Yeah? Come on, guys. You guys work with me. You guys are a little quiet. No need to be shy. Agree, disagree? Agree. Okay. Wonderful. So what I want you to do just for 1 minute is turn to the person next to you and tell them, what do you think might die within somebody at 25 years old, so that they're still living for another 50 years, but they're not really living? Perhaps they're just existing. Perhaps they're just breathing, but they're not actually living. What do you think we have in the early years of our life that sometimes disappears at a certain point, at which point we may lose the actual vitality of what it means to be in this world? Can I ask you to do that for 1 second? Or one minute? Not 1 second, that's nothing. For 1 minute or 2 minutes, just turn to the person next to you. What do you think Benjamin Franklin is talking about when he says certain things die when we're 25? Okay? All right, everyone, let's get you back. Can I get some answers from some of you guys? Like, you can just shout out. It can be a word, a sentence, whatever you think. What do you think may die within us at a certain point in life, which means we're living, but we're not really living? I knew there was going to be silence. Yes, Vrindav, first question, are you living? Dead. He's dead. Okay, self-confessed dead. Okay, yeah. You want to say?
I'd say like responsibilities and working, because most of your time is taken up by boring stuff.
Okay, so what die? You feel like you lose your freedom at 25? Be careful, your wife's here. He said it.
And also, I think you've done all the stuff, like up until 25, and then it gets a bit boring, and there's nothing else either. So I think there's two things there.
So I want specifically in one word, what dies? Okay. I think that covers it, Vrindavan. Thank you so much.
I was going to maybe try and say that a bit more eloquently. Like your ability to explore. If you look at the Greek times, people would sit around and think and take time.
Yeah.
And we're meant to do that on Ekadashi. The Jews do on Ekadashi is on a weekday, you have to go to work. You don't actually have the ability to explore with your mind.
Okay, so let's say time and freedom, headspace as well. Yeah, so we maybe lose time, we lose headspace. Yeah, at the back there.
In one word, opportunities.
Opportunities are lost at 25. Like at 25, up till 25, all the opportunities are open, but then life starts getting narrow.
Yeah, it's like you like kind of narrow down your path, your life into kind of like one career, one path, and then that's kind of it for your life, and you don't get to explore anything else, which actually might have suited you better,
Okay.
especially spiritually.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. So opportunities. Yeah.
Maybe like the spark of your innocence. Like
This,
you
yeah.
become
Cynical.
excited.
Yeah, you become a bit cynical about life, like look at all these old guys on the back, Yeah, you lose a little bit of your innocence, like this kind of curiosity, this sense of like, maybe I could do anything. And you kind of think like, no, nothing works, I can't do it, So yeah, innocence, thank you so much, yeah.
I think to add to that, I feel like we've settled into the material world more, so we're more like we've embedded ourselves into the conditions that Kali brings and the ignorance that can bring. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of hope.
Yeah. So you kind of get like embroiled in the kind of matrix of ignorance, and you kind of just becomes part of you, and then you become complicit to it, and you just kind of go along with it. Yeah, thank you. That's well, I was going to say that's a good one, but that's a bad one. But it's a good answer, but a bad one. Yeah, thank you. Great. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah. Go back, Ash. Yeah.
Your friendships.
Your friendships. That's an interesting one. You feel like your friendships die at 25? Like, but
Not everyone, but like up until 25, you're around other people your age because you go to school. However, at 25, some people may go to work and not have as genuine friendships with people who are still.
oh, okay. Like a lot of your friendships become, or connections become transactional, or like for a specific purpose. But when you're at school, you're just hanging out with friends, and that's a good one. Yeah, thank you. Was there another hand there? Yeah.
Up until 25, you're in formal education, so you're always learning. You're around people who are always teaching you. And after that, while you can learn different things, you have to really take the time to reflect through those experiences. You don't really have time to reflect.
Yeah.
You start learning basically.
Yeah, unless you like decide to do like a triple PhD or something and stay in university for another 15 years. Like generally you stop learning because, learning is up to a certain point. And if you're not learning, maybe you're not living, because to always constantly be expanding your horizons. Yeah, great. Anyone else? Yeah.
I can't think of a better word, but ambition. So
Mm.
it could be both material and spiritual. Like, earlier it's like quite fresh and new, and then it's just, it starts slowing down a bit.
Yeah, so ambition, vision, like ideas, hope for the future, creativity, to kind of think that my life could go here, it could go there, and all of that kind of starts. Great, yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
I think around 25, you're like get fully grown. So your body too, it's like at that flat point, and then it's only down from there. So it doesn't really go.
Yeah. I have to admit, I'm still growing and I'm not going down. I'd like to go down. But you kind of reached your peak of what you can do, and it almost feels like you reach a flat line, like a plateau, and then you can't really do anything more than that. Sometimes people may feel, yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, Kavata.
Just related to the point about ambition, like disillusionment, like the feeling that you can't make a difference.
Yeah.
Not only do you narrow your choices, but maybe when you're younger you think you can change the world, but as you start to grow, it's like nothing's going to change. So.
Yeah, that belief that I can change, that I can transform, that I can become what I can and should be. We sometimes lose that hope after time. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Vrindavan.
You meet the devotees, so
You meet the devotees at 25.
And they tell you that material life is rubbish, and they're never going to be happy. But then
Oh, okay. Okay, guys, this is what you have to look forward to in Krishna consciousness. Yeah, no, but there is that. That's an interesting one. Like you take up Krishna consciousness, you have this kind of vision, and then at a certain point you feel like you can't make it to that vision. At the same time, you can't go back. As Srila Prabhupada used to say, joining Krishna consciousness is like joining the mafia. You can't leave because you know too much. Right, so like you know too much and you can't go back to what you were. Was there a hand there? Did I see? Yeah, Swarna Radhika.
I was thinking about maybe around the age of 25, people lose their audaciousness and bravery. It's like a willingness to do almost anything.
Yeah,
I mean, I actually think for some people it can be the other way around. You find your bravery because you enter adulthood.
yeah,
But for some people, there's just the spirit of being not caring what people think, being willing to do anything.
yeah,
And then you start carrying the burdens and responsibilities for everyday life. And
yeah.
maybe people don't feel so audacious or brave. Maybe it's better to fit in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good one. You become so affected by the narratives, the opinions, the expectations around you. You're more self-conscious. You kind of want to fit in. You want to be accepted. Of course, we have that a little bit of that when we're young as well. But you're perhaps more bold, as you said, audacious. But yeah, we lose that. Yeah, I really think this is a really good question to focus on, and it's something I regularly focus on as well, and try to find my younger self. And the reason I've begun with this is because, like, here are all of you. I don't think any of you are 25 yet. And this is actually meant to be the best time of life because you can learn, you can be creative, you can vision, you've got freedom, all the opportunities are there for you. It's actually the most beautiful time of life. And my theory is that if you utilize this time of your life and all the gifts that come with it, all of those things we're talking about, because although Benjamin Franklin says here some people die at 25, my theory is that some people die even before they're 25. And what I strongly feel is that if you utilize all of these things when you're young and you take full advantage of it, I think you continue to benefit from those gifts after even 25 and as you go in your Krishna conscious life and your life journey in general, and you can do incredible, amazing, beautiful, bold things in your life. And so just think about all of those things mentioned, and sometimes it's just good to put that down on the list and ask yourself, how much am I doing all of these things? How much am I being bold? How much am I learning? How much opportunities am I trying? Am I being audacious? Am I taking a risk? All those kind of things. And I'm beginning this with this also because Prabhupada began the movement in 1966. Here is a hippie from the Summer of Love, 1966. And 1966 was a very, very amazing time in history. You almost feel like Krishna arranged everything. Krishna arranged for Srila Prabhupada to come to America in 1966 because there was a certain spirit, there was a certain mood, there was a certain rebelliousness, and it fit together perfectly with Krishna consciousness. And I often think, I don't know where, all of us must have been somewhere in the Summer of Love in 1966. Maybe some of you were there, I don't know. But I often think that's such a beautiful time in history. And I want to show you 4 mantras that kind of sum up the spirit of 66. And when you see these mantras, you can begin to understand how Srila Prabhupada was beautifully arranged. It was beautifully arranged for him by Krishna to come in this point of time. The first mantra of the spirit of 66 was question everything. Don't follow things just because people told you it's like that. Don't follow things because it's always been done like that. You don't have to trust everything everyone tells you. Question everything. That means question the trends of society. For example, there was a lot of racial segregation in America. The blacks were often discriminated against in very, very inhumane ways, and the spirit of 66 was to fight against that. So it's a fight against trends, to fight against traditions. The world was telling the hippies of 66 that this is meant to be your life journey. First you have to do this, then you have to do this, and by 30 you have to be this, and if by 40 you haven't got there, then what the hell are you doing with your life? And the hippies questioned it. They said, but why? Maybe it doesn't have to be like that. Maybe that's not what I have to do with my life. And like this, they questioned everything. And that's actually a very, very beautiful thing, to question everything. Another mantra of 66 was, take a risk. Columbus says, unless you're willing to sail away from the shore, you'll never be able to discover what's on the horizon. And so the hippies were ready to sail away from the shore. They dropped out of university. That's a big risk, right? They took to the road. Some of them came from very, very rich families, but they said, we don't want the money. Forget it. Money comes, money goes. There's something more that we need to discover. And therefore, they took a risk. They stepped away from the convention, and they took another route, a road less traveled. And that was they had no problems doing that. Another mantra of 66 was expand consciousness. Of course, how they decided to expand their consciousness was a little bit questionable, through psychedelics and LSD and magic mushrooms and all that kind of stuff. Once Prabhupada, he came into a program, and a hippie program, and on the stage there was a man dancing in a banana suit. So Prabhupada came in and he looked at it, he said, what is the meaning of this? So the devotee said, Prabhupada, they've discovered that, this was in San Francisco, he said, Prabhupada, they've discovered that if you take bananas, you take the banana skin, you dry it under the sun, and then you light it and you inhale the fumes, then it's like a cheap alternative to psychedelics. We don't see anyone trying that in the back of the kitchen or anything like today. So he said, Prabhupada, they're celebrating that they've this massive discovery of bananas. So Prabhupada's like, wow, And then the devotee said, but the good news is, the hippies are donating 1 ton of bananas to Jagannath every month. The only condition is they want the skins back. And Prabhupada was thinking like, oh my God, like this is like, what kind of place is this? Like they want the skins back, like it's... So all these things were going on. But it was very interesting. The hippies were trying to expand their consciousness. They had a sense, there's more. There's more than just this. It's not just about this world and this material existence around me. There's something more to it all. And therefore, they were looking to expand consciousness. And you know what they did to expand their consciousness also? They did something called deprovincialization. See, deprovincialization means you come out of your normal, known area. You see, when you were born in Wembley, self-confession here, when you were born in Wembley and you live and you grow up in that environment and you remain there for the rest of your life, you may not actually begin to experience the totality of what life could be. Because what can happen is that provincial area can become like a prison. And so the hippies were like, we need to get out of this space. And so what they started doing to expand their consciousness is they decided we have to expand our horizons. And what they started doing is they started traveling. And they heard the East was the place to find the ultimate consciousness expansion. And so they traveled overland all the way to the east. There was something called the magic bus. You know this. The magic bus would go from the UK all the way through the Channel and then overland from Europe through Eastern Europe, then through the Middle East, Afghanistan, and the bus would go all the way over all of these lands and then finally arrive in India. And so masses of people were just going to another land because they realized if we go to other places, we can discover things, expanding consciousness. And the fourth mantra of the hippies was spread love. The real their mantra was make love, not war. Anyway, the make love was, or maybe it wasn't exactly love, but their whole idea was that we should make the world a better place. The world is too violent. The world is too materialistic. The world is too consumeristic. We should try to go out, embody love, and spread love, and make the world a nicer place. So look at this, the spirit of 66. These were the mantras which were the guiding light of the spirit of 66. And what can we say? The hippies had the right spirit, but they didn't have guidance. And therefore, enter Bhaktivedanta Swami in the Lower East Side of New York, coming into America in the summer of love, summer of 66. This is Prabhupada, 1966, New York, 26 2nd Avenue. Maybe some of you have been there, very, very profound place. And Prabhupada just came there at the age of 70. And he took the spirit of 66, and what he did is he channeled it. He channeled it with spiritual knowledge. He channeled it and he said, yes, you should question everything, but you also need to know where to get answers. It's good to question everything, but you need to know where are you going to be able to get the answers to all of your questions. And so Prabhupada taught them, you question everything and get your answers in the Vedas. Yes, take a risk, but don't take a whimsical risk. Take a risk that will help you to get something eternal. And so Prabhupada channeled the risk-taking tendency of the hippies. Yes, expand your consciousness, but you don't need to do it through chemicals. You don't need to do it through substances. Vishnu Jan Prabhu, he once came to Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada, he said, it's amazing. When I offer the food to Krishna, I see a green light glowing around the food. Prabhupada said, keep chanting, it will go away. Right? So it's like, Prabhupada's like, you don't need all this stuff. You don't think this stuff is it, the visions and all that. You expand your consciousness by becoming conscious of Krishna, by becoming conscious of what's beyond this material world, the spiritual reality. That's the ultimate consciousness expansion. You expand your consciousness when you understand who you are. A spiritual being, an eternal servant of Krishna, a lover of God. And spread love. Prabhupada said, yeah, spread love. But how can you spread love if you don't know what love is? Prabhupada said there's a difference between love and lust. Don't think that lust is going to change the world. First you have to develop love. You have to become selfless. You have to become pure. You have to become generous. And when you do that, when you have that, and then you go out into the world, he said to the hippies, change the world. For sure you should change the world. In fact, in 26 2nd Avenue, Prabhupada had a globe. And Prabhupada would spin the globe. And Prabhupada would point to his disciples who were just 18, 19 years old and saying, you'll go to this country and you'll go to that country. And he was telling them, you'll go and preach, you'll go and establish a temple, this, that. Rukmini Mataji says she came to Prabhupada. She was, I think, 16. Rukmini, if you ever meet Mother Rukmini, I think she's in New York or Washington. She tells this story. She was 16 years old. She came into Prabhupada's room. Prabhupada was spinning the globe. He was telling everyone, you guys are going to go all around the world. And then Rukmini said to Prabhupada, and what about the girls? Can the girls also become preachers? And Prabhupada said, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, everyone can be a preacher. Anyone can go, no problem. And they did it. They went to different places. And look at this picture. It's very beautiful. This is ISKCON 1966. Practically, I think all but 2 of the individuals in this picture are under 20 years old. This is not the youth group. This is ISKCON. This is ISKCON. This is the beginning. This is the starting point. These were the individuals, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds that came to Srila Prabhupada. And remember their spirit. Question everything. Take a risk. Expand your consciousness and spread love. And what did Prabhupada say? Brilliant. Now let me tell you how to do it through Krishna. And when that combination came, it was absolutely explosive. If you ever get a chance, read the book by Hayagriva Prabhu. It's called The Hare Krishna Explosion. It's an amazing book. Right? It was an explosion. It was incredible. 18, 19, 20-year-olds. In Prabhupada Lilamrit, Satsvarup Maharaj talks about the day that ISKCON was registered. He said, as with normal days, everyone had come to 26 2nd Avenue. You know what it was like when the hippies used to come to 26 2nd Avenue? Basically, they were just waiting for prasadam. It still happens in the Hare Krishna movement. But So sometimes people would come, they would be in all states of consciousness. He explains that next to 26 2nd Avenue, there was a donut shop. So sometimes people would come in, Prabhupada would be speaking, they're like, oh God, this is like, he's speaking. Go to the donut shop, get a donut, come back, wait for the kirtan, take prasadam at the temple. And then Prabhupada recognized everyone was going to the donut. So he didn't know, Prabhupada didn't know what donuts were. He says, what is this? Donuts, do not, donuts. And then Prabhupada realized he gave them gulab jamuns. And he said, just take these, they're better than donuts. And so yeah, all these kids were coming. And then on one fine day, Prabhupada had connected with a lawyer. His name was Stephen Goldsmith. So this lawyer, he said to the lawyer, I want to establish a society. Can you do the legal papers for me? And this lawyer's looking at this storefront with all these hippies thinking, my God, this, I don't know what this guy wants to do, but okay, I'll help him. And anyway, this Stephen Goldsmith came to the lecture that evening. And so at the end of the lecture, Prabhupada just dropped it in front of all these hippies. He said, and so today we will be legally registering the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. These hippies are like, oh my God. They were thinking, we thought we were far out. The Swami is more far out than us, like an international society. So Prabhupada says, yes. And then he told Mr. Goldsmith, you can speak. So then this Mr. Goldsmith is looking out at all these hippies and he's like, so we will register the legal society. We need 3 names. Who will be the first trustees? Looking at all these hippies thinking, there's going to be a trustee here. He says, would anyone like to put their hand up? Who wants to be a trustee of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness? It's very simple. All you have to do is write down your name and your address. He's looking at all these hippies. None of these hippies have an address, They're just they're living here, there, anyway. Even to get an address was like a mission. And finally finally 3 people came forward and became the first trustees of the Hare Krishna movement. And this was it. This is the beginning. And, well, all of us can think, because this is all of you, right? Like all of you, we could take another picture here and it would be all of you. And there wouldn't be any difference, at least in terms of age and all of that kind of stuff, right? Here we could take a picture, boom. And here we take another picture, boom. And you're both the Hare Krishna movement. And what was so special about this is they took that spirit and they had guidance. If you have the spirit and if you take guidance, you can do incredible things. You see? But the problem is now, the problem then in 66 was they had the spirit, this spirit, but they didn't have guidance. Shall I tell you the problem now? We have the guidance, but we don't have the spirit. Nowadays, who's questioning everything? Nowadays, most people just go along with the flow, go with the flow. Whatever everyone tells me to do, I'll do it. No one's challenging. No one's challenging. That's the problem. Take a risk. Most people, the goal of their life is fitting in and finding comfort. If I fit in and if I find comfort in my life, I'm good. I'm success. Complete opposite to the spirit of 66. Expand consciousness. Most people nowadays are just trying to dull their consciousness. Am I right? They say there's only 2 drugs which are allowed in Western civilization: coffee and alcohol. Because coffee makes you so dull that it keeps you working from Monday to Friday, and alcohol keeps you dull from Friday to Sunday, so that on Monday you can start working again. People are not trying to expand their consciousness. People are dulling their consciousness. And spread love. Who is there now that wants to change the world? Nobody wants to change the world. Young people don't want to change the world. I'm not. Hardly. Most people are just like, if I get my job, if I get my bank account, if I get my little nice life, then that's good. That's as big as their world vision goes. Doesn't go beyond that. Here the hippies were like, there's a whole world out there and we have to spread love. So my point here that I'm beginning today with is that now we have guidance, but maybe in 2026 we can think 60 years back, what was the spirit of 66, and how may we be able to have that spirit today? And remember, this is all of you. From here, the Krishna consciousness movement spread to every major city in the world within 11 years. From here. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They did it. It's possible. Anything's possible. Okay, so I seem to remember I saw a Pandava saying a t-shirt would create a spiritual revolution. I want you to think, what does it mean to create a spiritual revolution? What is the difference? What is a revolution? And what's the difference between a material revolution and a spiritual revolution? That's your tagline. That's your goal. That's what you're trying to achieve in the world. And that's very beautiful, because that's what Srila Prabhupada came to do. That's what the Bhagavatam exists for, to create a revolution in the world, but to create a spiritual revolution. So I just want you to turn to the person next to you, just for a couple of minutes, and discuss with each other, what do you think the difference between a material and spiritual revolution is? And what do you think, what does a spiritual revolution mean to you? What does a spiritual revolution look like? Right? Because you guys are trying to create a spiritual revolution. So can I ask you to do that? And then I'll see if I can work out this video. Yeah. All right, everyone, let's get you back. Some ideas from you, I'd love to hear. Like, what do you think the difference is, like, with a spiritual revolution? If Panavasena, if ISKCON, if the Hare Krishna movement are meant to create a spiritual revolution, what does that look like? What does that mean to you? Any ideas? Yeah.
The main difference would be that the material revolution would be temporary and may only last a few generations, whereas spiritual revolution would last many generations and would be everlasting.
Yeah, so to give something to people that's permanent, that's not just a trend, that doesn't just stay for some time, but something which permanently changes the way civilization works and all of that. Thank you. Yeah, what else? What do you think? Yeah, Maharaj.
I would say that a material revolution is to adjust. We don't like this situation of sense gratification. We want another system of sense gratification.
Yeah.
But a spiritual revolution is removing material sense gratification, establishing perfect sense gratification devotion.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, material revolutions are just like adjusting things within the same domain. But spiritual revolution means to change, to shift the paradigm. Sometimes material revolutions are just to do with the how and the what. But spiritual revolutions are to question the why. Why? Why do we even need to do this in the first place, right? Material revolutions will help us to do things better. Spiritual revolutions help us to do better things. So yeah, there's a deeper, more foundational shift. Brilliant, yeah. Anyone else? You guys have to create the revolution. Yeah, Prem-Raj.
We were discussing how material revolutions are often looking outwards, whereas spiritual revolutions are focusing inwards.
Brilliant. Yeah, material revolutions are all about outside environments, people. Spiritual revolutions begin within. Like the personal resolution triggers the global revolution. So when we change ourselves, you know, and Prabhupada was one person, but how much was he able to do because he was so inside of himself? The Krishna consciousness was shining so brightly. So yeah, spiritual revolutions are inside out. Brilliant point. Yeah. Anyone else from the ladies' side? Any revolutionaries there? Okay. Nilamani is definitely a revolutionary.
So these are a collation of the kind of our group here at the back. And so one of the main points was the difference of consciousness. So we have to create a change in consciousness. And interestingly, we came up with top down and down up. So in terms of changing leadership or influencing leadership, and those people who are the most influential in society, but also down up, so changing social media content and the things that people are looking at now, so more wisdom speakers, things along those lines.
Yeah, so to trigger the revolution on both sides, from the top down and from the down up, work on the ground, work with the big people. Yeah, both things. Yeah, beautiful. That's a great point. Anyone else want to say anything about revolution? Yeah, Mukund?
I think material revolutions reward people selectively. If I take AI as an example, those who have the skills, access to capital, connections will grow, many will lose their jobs and be left behind. Spiritual revolutions lift everyone up by design.
Yeah, great. Yeah, spiritual revolutions are not barred. They are, in Sanskrit we say Shubhada. Shubhada means they grant auspiciousness to everyone. And therefore, in material revolutions, some people win, a lot of people lose. But in spiritual revolutions, everyone is uplifted. So yeah, beautiful thing. So I'm just going to end with a video, and then we're going to kind of give you guys a break. But just to summarize, today I want you to think about the spirit of 66. Do you remember what's the first mantra, the spirit of 66? Question everything, right? Think about, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for your life? What does that mean for how you live? Second mantra of the spirit is take a risk. What does that again mean for your life? Spend these days thinking about these questions. In my life, I have an opportunity to take a risk, to explore, navigate into the unknown that most people don't venture into. What does that mean for me? Third mantra is consciousness expansion. Try it out. Try out LSD. No, I'm joking. See, what does that mean for you? What does it mean to expand your consciousness? How do you achieve that? How is that? How are you going to pursue that through Krishna consciousness? And the final one, spread love. Everyone can spread love. Because everyone who has love in their heart can spread love. It doesn't matter if it's to one person, you do something big. It's all big. If you touch other people's hearts with something profoundly beautiful, it leaves an impression which will continue to grow and proliferate around the world. So think about, what is your mission in that? What are you going to do? And that spirit, when you have guidance, it's incredible. And I'm just going to show you a beautiful clip from Mukunda Maharaj. Mukunda Maharaj, I met him last year, and I was speaking to him, and I was asking him about the spirit of 66. And another book for you to read is, he's written a beautiful book called Miracle on 2nd Avenue. Incredible book where he talks about what it was like to be in New York with Srila Prabhupada in 1966. And just what that beautiful time in history was about. So this is just a short clip about him talking about that time. And hopefully it will work.
I'm 69 now, and I was there at the very beginning. So I decided to get it all down on paper. I ended up writing a thoroughly researched book about how the Hare Krishna movement began. The book details the origin and early days of the movement. This is me at 22, at 12. New York City's a weird place for a religion to begin. Okay, so the Mormon religion started in New York, but that was New York State, in the countryside. My story starts out on Manhattan's Bowery. The founder started Hare Krishna while he was in his 70s. In the early days, especially during the San Francisco Summer of Love, temples started in storefronts. Festivals and feasts involved hippies. Beatnik poet Allen Ginsberg chanted. Hollywood thought we were funny.
But I know you guys believe in reincarnation, and that's so interesting. Take over there, Chris. Leave it over. Just think about it. Who are you kidding? You're going to be a Krishna? You're going to shave your head and put on robes and dance around at airports?
And in London, the Beatles got involved. It wasn't always smooth sailing. Often it was a hard struggle.
We had permission for public worship. We had permission for the festivals. But the council and the government have taken it away.
And Hare Krishnas had to fight back. My book takes you from June 1966, the very beginning, until December 1969. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. A very short final section brings you up to the present. I called my book Miracle because I thought it was a miracle. The Krishna consciousness could get even a toehold in an extremely materialistic world. That's me, long ago, holding the flower garland. And my guru, the founder, with eyes closed.
Srila Prabhupada ki. So it's a miracle. It was a miracle. It is a miracle. There will be more miracles. And so it's really our great privilege to be part of this wonderful movement, to be students, to be followers of Srila Prabhupada. And what can I say? All of you have the best opportunity because like Vrindavan was saying, at a certain time your life may start to contract. But when you're young, you have the opportunity to resist that. And if you utilize all those opportunities of your youth, then you might find that even when you hit 25, your life doesn't have to contract. Your life can continue expanding more and more and more. Many people come to Krishna consciousness, but they come to Krishna consciousness later in life. And then it's very, very difficult. But when we're with you, we understand that you guys have the greatest opportunity because the world, it's a blank slate. You can do what you want to do with your life. And if you have the spirit and you have the guidance, then those two things are very, very beautiful. So I tried to share with you a little bit about the spirit of 66 and maybe you can take some of those points with you and meditate on it in the coming days, and then you'll have many, many other talks about Srila Prabhupada and his incredible character.